Hello, my name is Faith Wanyela. Welcome to today's class. Our learning objectives will be as follows. Define the term tourism, sports tourism, and event tourism. Distinguish the various categories of events. Explain the various types of sports tourism and examine the benefits of sports tourism. In our introduction, we're saying that sports and events have become an important component of the industry, being that people have had a grown interest in all kinds of sports and events and travels. We're seeing a rise in events such as festivals, music concerts, and even shows across the country. So we move into definition of terms, and here we're defining the term event, and we're saying according to Swart and Smith Christensen 2005, event encompasses anything that can attract an audience by appealing to specific tastes, desires, or need that has been used to define that which is extraordinary in culture. Mosberg defines an event as a special activity out of ordinary days' life. And therefore, when we look at event tourism, we see Tassi Pollers 2005 defined event tourism as the systematic development, planning, marketing, and holding an event as a tourism attraction. So we continue and look at the term sport, and we're saying this as an activity involving physical exertion, skills, which an individual or a team competes against one another for entertainment. Therefore, we say sport tourism is defined as a specific travel outside the usual environment for either passive or active competitive sport, where the sport is the prime motivation for travel, and touristic attractions and leisure may be elements that enforce the experience. And there we have an image of Eliud Kipchoge when he had traveled to Vienna for the Ineos Challenge. Every other Kenyan that went there to view the event went for sports tourism, but the excursions that followed it, those now are the supporting experiences. We move on and look at the types and categories of events, and here we see that events can be categorized into three groups. We have the special events, mega events, and hallmark events. Then we have also types, and here we're talking about the cultural, arts, business events, trades, academic, or educational, and we have scientific, recreational, and when we look at the types, when we see the cultural celebrations, we see things like bullfighting incision ceremonies, sports competition, you're talking about the Grand Prix, Safari Rally, marathons, rugby series. On adventure, we're talking about mountain climbing, surfing. On trade, you're talking about expos, trade fairs, and seminars. And then on special events, we're talking about cuisine festivals, weddings, art, music, and so forth and so forth. So we look at we move on and look at the categories of events, and here we're talking about the mega event, and we say this is an event that attracts a larger audience. It is larger than any other event, being that it is distinguished by the number of visitors it attracts, the role of the media, the cost implications, and the transformative impact it has on a destination. A good example of a mega event is the FIFA World Cup or the Olympic Games. When we move on, we look at another example of mega events as another example of categories of event, and we're talking about the hallmark events. And here we say that a hallmark events are major fairs, expositions, cultural and sporting events in which are held on regular or on-off basis, and their primary function is to market a destination or a place. A good example would be the Boston Marathon, which is held on regular intervals. Another category of event, we're talking about the special events, and here we see that it's defined as an routine occasion from normal activities of life, and we giving examples as cultural, personal, and good examples would be the weddings and festivals. You don't get to have your wedding every day, so it becomes a special event. Other categories are the community events, regional events, and national and international events. So when we move on, we are looking at the criteria for event tourism destination, and this is we're basically talking about what is it that people look at when they're selecting a destination for event tourism, and we're talking about access. Here we ask the question: how accessible is a region, and what are the alternatives of accessing it in terms of transportation? Two, we're looking at the amenities, and these are facilities that would make the stay of a tourist comfortable in a destination. And so here we're talking about anything that will make one comfortable. Examples will be the banks, the hospitals, police stations, hotels, bars and restaurants, or other recreational facilities. Then we look at the attractions and we say, what is it that this destination has that is different, that will attract people in large masses to its area? And so, what are the goals of event tourism? We're talking about place marketing, its ability to market a place by attracting people to it. Its another goal is tourist attraction, the quality of people it's able to bring, and the demand it will spread about a destination as it helps to tackle seasonality. Then we talk about it's an image maker. It helps boost the image of a destination while demystifying negative information about a place. It's stimulant to development. Every big event comes with some form of infrastructural development. Then talk about it's an animator because it will encourage fast and repeat visits to a place. What are the aspects of event tourism destination? This refers to the elements that a destination has to attract people to it. And when we say the natural assets, and here we're talking about how the physical features of a place are able to determine the kind of event that will be held there. For instance, you're talking about skiing as on the snow. You can only have it on the polar regions. Not every place in the world is able to host such events. So we're talking about the type of sport and the theme of the celebration. What is it that this event is trying to invoke out of individuals? Another thing we're looking at is the location, and here we see the location affects the target market. The locality of a place, as it affects the ability of consumers to access the product, determines if the event comes there or not. And a good example, we see that people would prefer to host international events in Nairobi other than in villages in Kenya because some of the commodities may delay in arriving at such destinations. Well, we look at culture as another aspect of event tourism, and we see the distinctiveness of a culture and its ability to attract people into a destination is another aspect of event tourism destination that people look at when they want to hold an event in a place. A good example is the Maasai culture. We know that it has been able to attract a lot of people into the East African region, unlike the other 42 plus tribes we have in Kenya. Maasai culture is predominantly known. Another aspect to talk about is climate, the uniqueness of a climatic condition or a region. And we see that there are some tourists that are inclined towards the warm areas or when they are running away or they are after the sun. So when we're looking at having events during the summer, you find that most of them will be sent towards the coastal regions. And next, we're looking at organization, and here we see how organized are the leadership in facilitating an event that they are planning. And we say that an example is that recently Kenya was denied a chance to host the AFCONs because of poor organizations. Our stadiums were not yet ready by the time final inspections were being done. Next, we look at intelligence, and we're talking about the levels of security available and the possibility of external threats like diseases and even terrorism. How aware are we? And another aspect we're looking at is investment and marketing and available infrastructure and its ability to host various events. Then lastly, we're talking about expertise and professionalism, and we say this is the availability of skilled manpower to facilitate the event. So let's look at types of sports tourism. And we had talked about sports tourism referring to the experience of travel to engage in or view sports or sports related activities. And one, we have event-based sports tourism, where we say it involves traveling to watch sports such as the Olympic Games and World Cup, soccer matches, the spectator-based sector of sports tourism. Another one is active or activity-based, where we say it involves an individual who travels to participate in a sporting event. It can either be for fun or leisure or even as a hobby, as long as you're actively participating or you're just going there for the sake of having fun and enjoying the sport. Maybe you're a first time. Then we're talking about nostalgia sports tourism. We say it's traveling to famous sport related attractions. An example would say Manchester United fans traveling to Old Trafford to see the stadium and view the history of how the club has grown to its stature. Then next we are looking at the conditions for sports tourism. By this we mean what are these factors that would favor sports tourism. And when we say economic factors, where we say that there is increase in disposable income to facilitate travel to sporting destinations. Also, there has been an increased job creation, hence income to facilitate travel. The second thing we're looking at are the technological innovations, and we see media coverage or improved media coverage on both online and through the TVs and radios has been able to increase or create desire for people to travel and participate in sporting activities. They also talk about advancement in transportation that has facilitated people to travel to destinations for sports. An example would be that it is easier now to travel out of the country on a short weekend to partake of a sporting event and back into the country. And then we talk about change in attitude. Then we say that the creation of jobs through sports has been able to rise a lot of sporting activities. And people have also learned to appreciate sporting because it has been able to put food on their table. It has also been able to bring about quality events in a region. And I think that is a positive way of looking at it. Then you also see that people also seeing sport as a way of living health as individuals. And lastly, we're looking at the benefits of sport tourism, and we see it generates economic activities to build an economy. Markets are exposed and exposes it markets and exposes the region to potential investors. It supports existing sporting activities, generating extra income, promotes good health in the society. When we're able to participate in these events, we see that people are more healthy. And then we see it promotes environmental awareness, being that there are sports that are being threatened by changing climate and global warming, like skiing. So you find that such athletes or sport people would really advocate for environmental awareness or people being sensitive to their environment. And that will be the end of our class today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Hope to see you next time. Thank you.